All right, you may remember Spencer Pratt from the hit reality TV show The Hills. Well, now he's running for the mayor of Los Angeles and getting a lot of attention for this new campaign video.
This is where Mayor Bass lives. You notice something? Or here, where Nithya Raman's $3 million mansion sits. They don't have to live in the mess they've created where you live. This is where I live. They let my home burn down. I know what the consequences of failed leadership are. That's why I'm running for mayor. For my sons and the rest of us Angelinos that want to stop these corrupt politicians from destroying our city. We are going to get the golden age of Los Angeles back.
Okay, I want to bring in CBS News Executive Director of Politics, Fin Gómez. Fin, Spencer Pratt was the guy you loved to hate when he was on TV.
Yeah.
What are Spencer's chances of actually winning the mayor's seat?
Yeah, Spencer Pratt. I mean, that's Spencer Pratt, the villain, as you said, from MTV's The Hills, which I remember from growing up with The Hills. I mean, it's, you know, it's sort of early aughts period of time, but now he is now a serious contender in the Los Angeles mayor's race. I mean, the June 2nd primary is about a month from today, and Pratt is running second in some latest polls. In a UCLA poll, mayoral poll, incumbent Mayor Karen Bass is at a paltry 25%, which is very low for an incumbent Liz, and Pratt is at 11. He still has a double-digit point margin there of separation. However, the fact that he virtually came out of nowhere to like a double-digit score here is pretty significant. And Progressive Councilwoman Nithya Raman is at 9, but 40%, Liz, 40% of LA voters in this poll are still undecided, which is a whopping number. There's also another poll that shows him a third. But I mean, he's also pulled in a lot of fundraising, and it all started really, Liz, with, if you recall, he lost his Pacific Palisades home in the January 2025 fires, if you remember. And really, he's running as a Republican in one of America's bluest cities, but his focus is really blasting Bass over the fire response, also focusing on the homelessness crisis and what he calls the city's bloated, huge budget. So he's been endorsed by a bunch of people, including Joe Rogan, Rick Grenell, Trump's ally, and some Republicans have compared him to a Mamdani from the right for his prolific social media campaign, and really, like you mentioned, a really effective campaign there to really try to reach out and appeal to disaffected voters in California.
Yeah, it's so interesting to watch this race, Finn. What do you think the rise of Spencer Pratt means about the mood of voters in Los Angeles right now?
Yeah, so I think the mood of voters right now, I think LA voters are angry. And the data really backs that up. If you look at Pratt is not doing well, not necessarily for who he is. I mean, he is getting some attention for sort of celebrity status, but it's really because of who he's like running against. He's really running against, really tapped into like that zeitgeist that right now of this anger, this disaffected voter who's mad not at Republican or Democrats, but really mad at the establishment and mad at like the ineffective leadership. And I think you like Bass being so low in the polls show that she's a very vulnerable mayor. And if the cards align just right, he does have a competitive shot. But again, steep uphill climb. LA is very blue. But could this be the year that there's a major upset? Maybe.
It'll be fascinating to watch. I want to stay in California for a minute, Finn. CBS News held a debate for the California gubernatorial candidates earlier this week. You were there. It's still a very crowded field to become the next governor. Did anyone grab voters' attention in that debate? It got heated.
Yeah, it did really get heated. I mean, I was there in the room. But first of all, let me say, like, a really great job by our colleagues at the CBS California stations. Really ran a very, very well organized, really effective news-making debate. But yes, there was it was like just essentially just fireworks. A stage of 8 people, 8 candidates there, from running the gamut from conservative to very progressive to centrist, and you did see some really big jousting, if you will. This is one of the biggest and most watched gubernatorial races, and I think that a couple people had big nights. If you allow me, I think that Javier Becerra, since Eric Swalwell dropped out, remember this is the first debate since Swalwell dropped out after those made those allegations. But Javier Becerra has really kind of taken over that lane. He's moved up in the polls. He was really the target of some hits from his competitors, and also Katie Porter, who had a lot of negative headlines earlier this year, actually had a pretty standout debate. Really, some people in the audience were telling me that she would seem like the adult in the room, actually, because the others were squabbling just so much. Liz.
And I'm curious, Fin, there's another debate coming up in May, and I'm curious if you think the next couple of weeks more candidates are going to drop out. That field's going to narrow a little bit, so you can actually really figure out which each candidate is about, which is difficult when there's so many people up on that stage.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was talking to some Democrats that night a couple of days ago in LA, and they essentially tell me that they believe that by that next big tentpole of the debate, that you could see someone else drop out to consolidate that. That's more of that Democratic support that's sort of up for grabs right now. But remember, Steve Hilton, the Fox News commentator, he is leading the polls. He's a Republican. He's been endorsed by Trump. Very interesting that he's one of those top candidates. However, because Trump endorsed him, he sort of consolidated all this Republican support, and it kind of left open the other slot. Remember, the last two final contenders advanced to the next general election. This is a jungle primary, so it could be a Republican and a Democrat. And typically when it happens in California, that Kamala Harris won by 20 points, the Democrats usually bode better in that sort of scenario.
And remind me, Fin, Governor Gavin Newsom, the current governor, has not endorsed a candidate yet, right?
No, that's absolutely right. And I think, Gavin Newsom is someone who is eyeing a 2028 run. We know that presidential run, and he hasn't. And a lot of some Democrats that I spoke to tell me that if he does weigh in, someone who is a national known figure, political figure, a rising leader within the party, sort of taking on this fighter mentality, if he endorsed, he would clear the field, and then you see Democrats consolidate. They still believe that will happen. Again, if it's a Republican and a Democrat, usually the Democrats do better on that final ballot.
Fin Gómez, always a joy to talk to you. Thanks so much.